I want to talk about intuition and family. Now, as most of you know, I began seeing spirits when I was 2 years old, and my parents talk about this where we lived in this apartment in Boston. And I started seeing spirits at nighttime, and they'd have to like run in my room because I'd be screaming at the top of my lungs, calling it a rabbit. And this went on like nightly. And finally, when we moved from the apartment, it never happened again. That's something that my parents talk about a lot. The thing is, growing up and not really understanding why I was so different, why intuitively I would pick up on different things, that was sort of a struggle for me. And when I look at it now, I know that it had to be for my parents because they, just like me, didn't really understand. When I would pick up on other people's emotions, I didn't realize at that time that's what was happening. I generally was a happy kid, but there were times where I felt like ostracized because I felt different. And even though my parents, they loved me a lot and they supported me, but the thing was, when it came down to how I knew I felt about feeling different, my parents couldn't understand, so they didn't know how to help me. Now, where this comes in with intuition and the dreams that I've had, as I became a young adult, my dreams like really intensified. I would have these dreams and like I'd wake up the next day and I'd call my mom on the phone, or we'd get together and go shopping on the weekend, and I'd tell her about the dream I had that night before, and something in that day would happen that was in my dream, and my mom was just like, here we go again. Like, it always happened like that. And that's how my dreams have been throughout my life. Another thing is, this is years ago, but in my last marriage, I had been at the hospital with my ex-husband. And this particular time, like being in the hospital, it was like I had to get back to the kids. So I was just going to leave him there. But when I went into the parking garage of the hospital, I got this really strong intuitive feeling, something about my car. I felt like I was going to get into a car accident. And so I literally was on my knees in the parking garage looking under my car. I opened my hood. I looked at the tires. I just did everything, walking around the car for like a good 8 minutes, 10 minutes, trying to see if there was anything that was hanging from my car that could potentially get me into an accident. So I didn't see anything, but I got inside the car and drove off. And while I was on the highway, I was going like 20 miles an hour and everybody's like speeding past me. It was nighttime, but everybody was speeding and I just didn't care because I had this uncomfortable, intuitive feeling that something was going to happen. So I continued to drive, everybody zooming past me. And finally, when I got off on my exit, I went down the parkway leading to my home. And as I was going down the parkway, I'm still driving very, very slow. And I'm allowing the person in front of me to have like a lot of space ahead of me. And I just kept looking in my rear view, like making sure that nobody was close to me and things like that. All of a sudden, a deer dashed right in front of my car, sped from one side of the road to the next. But luckily I had enough space between me and that car in front of me that I was able to not even put my foot on the brakes because I was going slow enough. But once that deer got to the other side of the road, that feeling of getting into an accident literally melted away. Now, I'm telling you about this and about how it ties in with family because, again, most of my life, I had no idea why things that I would attempt to do, whether it be doing passions and starting businesses, it would take off. And it's like I would know intuitively what to do how to do them, what steps to take. And I always was able to find the right resources to help me with my mindset, to make sure it was positive all the time, the resources to know what business steps to take, what business tools to use and when, what knowledge that I needed to just jump back into school to learn these specific things. Again, I'm someone who believes in specialized knowledge. I'm one of those people who are like, you don't actually have to have a full-blown degree to get where you want to go. You just need to know the things that you need to know in order to complete the project that you're working on. That's how I've always been. But again, it's always been this thing where it's always been my intuition where I've been getting these answers and following the signs of different things, even when it comes to, as some of you may know, as far as my son Deuce, who was a preemie, and he passed away after 5 weeks of life. But the thing is, when I first became pregnant with him, we started to see the numbers 1111 and any other kind of time that was something 11, like 211, 611, 711, and we automatically associated that with Deuce, because my ex-husband felt like, hey, that's probably Deuce. He was in my belly and he's probably saying hello to us. And we had totally looked at the time that way. Whenever we'd happen to see it, which we saw a lot, we would say, Deucey butt, and I'd rub my belly. And to this very day, me and my kids, we still do it. Even though my son, he lives all the way across the country, we still text each other the time when one of us sees it, and we reply back, Deucey butt. But where this is really tying in when we're talking about family, I guess, I've had some time to really reflect, and, 2022 has been an amazing year so far. And it's actually been, there's been a lot of pain this year as well. This is the time where I finally really had a chance to discover who I am. And, with COVID and all of that had been going on, and taking time to really think about where I want my life to go. And even though there were a lot of delays in my life, there was really never anything that I felt could actually stop me. And upon being, on this journey and being in hermit mode, and really reflecting, I began to really pay closer attention to my intuition. And with the events that have happened this year, I've noticed a lot of my spiritual gifts kicking in, a lot of visions that I've been able to see, a lot of things that, my dreams too, things that had happened in my dreams from 2021 have been coming through and saving me from a lot of things in 2022. So I've been relying on that. And I've also been really connecting and meditating and connecting with my spirit guides, my ancestors. And I have to say, it's amazing. Even with all of the things that have happened when it comes down to the spiritual attacks and things like that, and people doing all of these terrible things, trying to slow me down in my life, trying to prevent me from getting to my destiny, which is impossible to do. It's not going to happen. And all of these things, my guides and my ancestors have really stepped up. They literally have shown me. And, if you're watching me, I imagine you're someone who totally believes in, your ancestors protecting you and guiding you. I know for sure mine have, because again, they literally show me things that I need to know. And not only that, they show me when it comes down to ways to help myself and protect myself. And the path that I'm on, they show me literal products and websites. They help me browse, and they show me which things to buy and when. And again, it's just another level of what's been going on in my life where I trust my intuition. And it's so much so that having this time alone and really figuring out why. Why is it that all of these things, people doing things to end my life, why are people doing these things? Why are people trying to slow me down? Well, I figured that out. I was shown some history, and my ancestors gave me the knowledge to know that I actually am reincarnated and I am one of Ra's daughters. And it blew me away, and I kept trying to figure out, like, is this real? But again, I trust my intuition and I trust the guidance from my ancestors. And that guidance has gotten a lot stronger over like the last month. And now that I know, I also am very aware. Again, I always thought I was a magical person. I know that my kids are very magical. But I'm aware that a lot of this knowledge of who I am, this has been known. It's been known by many people in this world. And all my life, they've kept that from me. And I know that they have always hoped that I would never wake up to it. When these people had me sent to the hospital and they tried to pin mental disorders on me that I do not have, all of that was all a part of the mind and trying to figure out things, trying to make me forget things. And I know that my mission here is quite a few things. Number one, it's definitely to follow all of the things that I've started in my life that I haven't completed yet. All of the passions that I've had, being in music, being an actor, all of those things that I went ahead to do. And by the way, back in the day when I wanted to be a model, I remember when I was in this little group thing where we were learning how to model, they paid more attention to the models that were taller, and they told me, they were like, you know, if you were only taller. And a lot of people, they think when I do these videos that I'm really tall, but I'm really not. I'm just like barely 5'4". So, but yeah, that was the one thing that I remember from being a kid, them saying that, you know, you need to be like 5'6" and things like that. And for a long time, I thought I was like 5'5". I even had it on my driver's license for a long time. And basically my bubble was burst when they said, you know, at my doctor's visit, no, you are not 5'5", and my heart broke. But anyway, so going back with the family and using intuition, what I've learned so far and in this last month is that even though my biological parents in the 3D here on this earth, they were my most amazing parents, again, very supportive. But when it came down to me being a very spiritual being and not quite understanding that, I felt like I was alone. But now that I realize a lot of things about myself, again, I'm so grateful for 2022, I was never alone. I've always had my guides leading me. And the decisions that I've made in my life, I've always thought about them and used my intuition to make those decisions. And that's what led me on the path to my destiny. So I know a lot of people wonder about that. Like, how do you, find your path and follow it? It's because I've always been tapped into my intuition, and I've always trusted that. And if something didn't feel right to me, I know to close that door and keep it moving. So I'm going to end this video. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to come to light. A lot of things are going to come out. And again, I know aside from me moving forward with all of my passions and getting back to the things that I once loved a lot, that I put on hold for so long, that hold is not there anymore. And I'm going to continue to move forward. I speak a lot about the importance of knowing who you are. And I believe that for a long time, I've always felt like, I knew that I was different. I didn't dress the way other people dressed. I didn't do things that other people did. I did things, dress the way that I wanted, because that's what made me happy. And it was my way of expressing myself. And I never really worried about what other people said. I mean, there's like this big stereotype when people talk about the goth community. And one of the things was, I'm very passionate about goth music. I'm passionate about the attire of goth. And when I first started in my business that way, with fashion for goth chicks, people wondered, would that work because I'm a Black woman? That didn't stop me. I built a following of amazing people, and that's because we connect on a soul level. And that's what it's all about. I want to thank my father, Ra, now that I know exactly who I am, and I know that he's been fighting this battle for me, and I think my ancestors are really coming through. They are not having it. They're speaking. You know, there are fears that I have in my life. I've been all about protecting my children. And when it really comes down to everything that has happened to me, which again, like I said, it's going to come out. But all of these things that have happened in my life, I've had to protect my children by myself. And what I'm realizing is I was never alone. I was never alone. Ra has been there protecting and guiding me. And I've been making choices, harsh choices, on how I need to protect my family, because even when I needed to count on the police, they weren't there. But it's just good to know that the connection that I have to spirit and my spirit team, my ancestors, my guides, my angels, having that assurance that I can count on them for answers and for guidance on what I need to do to protect myself, that has been the thing that has kept me strong in all of this. So I'm going to end this by saying that I am very grateful to know that I do know and understand exactly who I am. You know, my ancestors, they say that we are royalty, and we're all about wealth and respect. And my question is, with that being the case, United States government, what happened? Why has everything that has happened to me happened? Why were the choices that you guys have made? Why was that acceptable to you? It's not acceptable to me, and it's not acceptable to my ancestors. So I want to thank everyone for watching this video, and I'm on a mission. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a great evening. We're on a mission. Bye.